do something a little bit different. Here's a quick look at a straggly plant growing in my garden. Some of you may have noticed that is a peppermint shrub or plantlet, and what I've done is I've picked some leaves and I've just left them to wilt a bit. It's quite hot here and I picked them about 6 hours ago, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare this fresh peppermint to our peppermint tisane tea bag. Taylors of Harrogate, well respected brand. Nevertheless, it's a bag. So I want to get an idea as to the correlation between dried, bagged peppermint leaves and fresh peppermint. The first thing I'm going to try to figure out is the weight. Now these are 2 grams dry weight, and part of the reason for leaving this to wilt is to, well, really the only reason is to try to get some of the moisture out of it, because moisture actually weighs, and what I'd ideally like to do is get it sort of closer to the dry weight. So what I've actually done is picked about the amount I thought I would use, and now I'm going to sort of work that out now backwards, work out exactly how much it weighs. So far my digital scale is saying less than a gram. It's just gone over a gram. And there you go. And it's actually just dropped over 2 grams. That's actually quite handy and somewhat of a coincidence. So let's just get rid of the stalks. Now the other factor, of course, of a tea bag is it's very, very finely cut or chopped or destroyed, or however you want to put it. So what I'm going to do is just give this a bit of a going over. I don't think I can do it to the same level with this. Grab my Metaluma and give it a good steam too. Right. It's kind of crunchy where it's got dry, and kind of soft sounding where it hasn't. So, but nevertheless, we are combining it. Now, even though we know it's roughly the same weight, I suspect it's less leaves because there is that moisture content that we don't have in the bag. The other factor is that because the bag is so finely cut, I imagine it will steep faster. So I'm going to put this one in slightly first. So there we go. I think that's chopped quite well. As I say, I don't think it's going to be the same level as the bag. There's of course a gorgeous smell, which you don't get if you're making it with a tea bag, and so I think from an anticipation point of view, this one's already a clear winner. Okay, pour it in slowly, wouldn't want to crack the glass. I do think drinking it's going to be quite inconvenient in terms of having to filter the leaves out, but I do these in cups because I think it's an easy way to see or glasses rather, it's an easy way to see what's going on. Right, the first most obvious thing is going to be a colour differential. You can tell that right away. This is, actually it is colouring up. This is probably already caught up to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to let them sit for a couple of minutes and then see what we end up with. So I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Right, back again after a couple of minutes. The first thing I'm going to do is hold them up for comparison. So this is green. This is brown. It's also very hot. Do you get that? Right. So I'll just ditch this tea bag out first. I think the tea bag's clearly finished steeping. It's about 2.5 minutes. She says 3 to 4 on the label. Right. Give that a little sip. Now it must be said, it's not a bad product. I can get over the tea bag thing with things that aren't actually tea. Rooibos, peppermint, some of the herbals, I can actually tolerate that because I don't think there's a clear distinction between the processing. Whereas with tea, obviously, the tea that goes into tea bags is either over-processed, chopped up, or it is the smallest bits that have sort of fallen through, and I guess they're considered a lower quality. So let's have a look at our homegrown peppermint tea. My very own tiny peppermint. I'll just use my Where There Is Tea, There Is Hope tea strainer. And of course, made a bit of a mess. I expect to. Can't make an omelette without breaking eggs. And the first thing is, it's a radically different brew. It really is different. When you drink this, up front it tastes like mint rather than peppermint, so you don't get the sweetness and that almost it's almost a thick sensation, you know, reminiscent of Lifesavers or Polo mints as they call it in other places of the world. But where it does turn up is in the aftertaste. So whereas this is sort of what I'd call a peppermint taste all the way through, up front and then a long lingering aftertaste, and I'm obviously getting very minty now. This one's very, very subtle up front, but the aftertaste is fantastic. When you have one after the other, there's a clear differential. It's a funny thing. It's going to be one of those drinks where you don't enjoy the taste as much as the aftertaste. Well, certainly for me. Which there's a lot of foods like that. A bit like there's other foods like sausages, for example, where the smell and the aroma and the anticipation is so much better than the dodgy tube of high-fat meat that you actually end up with. So I think that I will sip my peppermint decoction here, enjoy the mild and fresh upfront taste and the gorgeous aftertaste, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.